Let's see. Whew. Okay, I look large. Love how I look on video. Okay. All right, so let's see. Did we get to the part where the uncle asks Abigail, is your name entirely white? Did we get to that part? Okay, cool. That's where we need to actually start, right? He says, look, I found you dancing in the woods. That's not cool. He said, I saw a dress laying on the ground, meaning someone was naked out there. That's a problem. And he says on page 11, let's see, this is maybe the second time Paris speaks on 11. Abigail, I fought here 3 long years. Do you guys see that? Now, is there anyone that needs a copy of the book? Because I got a couple of extras. Do you want to borrow one, Sydney? Because it's much easier, I think, when it's, sorry, trying to cover my mouth. I'm right there. There you go. I'm sure that'll work, right? Okay. Anybody else need the book itself? Okay. So he says, I fought here 3 long years to bend these stiff-necked people to me, and now, just when some good respect's rising for me in the parish, you know, he is mostly concerned with himself and his own reputation, right? He's like, I finally got people who are, you know, seeing things my way, and he says, look, I've given you a home, child. I've put clothes upon your back. Give me upright answer. You want to highlight this. Your name in town, it is entirely white, is it not? What do you think he's asking Abigail here? Your name in town, it's entirely white, is it not?
Respected.
Yeah. Are you reputable? Are you virginal? Are you pure? I hear some rumors around town that maybe you're not doing everything you're supposed to be doing, or you're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing. Maybe that's a better way to put it, okay? All right, so I'm going to keep the part of Paris. I need really good readers because I'm taping this class. So Abigail, let's go for, wait a minute, I need my cheat sheet on my pages here. Abigail, I want, Emma, I want you to read for Abigail, okay? John Gamble, I want you to be John Proctor. Mercy, let's see. Gracie, I want you to be Mrs. Putnam, okay? Mr. Putnam, Andrew, all right? And let's see, Avery, I want you to be Mercy Lewis. Or did I already give Mercy to someone? I don't think I did.
I'm Mrs. Putnam.
Do what?
I'm Mrs. Putnam.
Yes, you are. Okay. And then Susanna, Caroline, you're going to be Susanna. And then Leanne, you're going to be Betty. She has to moan a little bit, okay? Okay, just so you know. All right. And then let's see. I'm going to need Tituba later on. What girl would like to read but has not gotten a part? Don't all jump at once. Claire, you can be Tituba, okay? And then, Reverend Hale. That's a good part.
Okay.
Do you what?
Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb. Okay, I'll go for that. Caleb was just hoping that I would pick him. I can tell by his demeanor. All right. So here is Abigail, who denies anything's going on with her reputation. All right, go ahead, Abigail.
Why am I sure it is, sir? There is no blush about my name.
There be no blush about my name. In other words, I'm perfectly pure. I'm a good girl, right? Abigail, is there any other cause that you've told me for you being discharged from Goody Proctor's service? I've heard it said, and I tell you as I heard it, that she comes so rarely to the church this year, for she will not sit so close to something soiled. What signified that remark?
She hates me, uncle. She must, for I would not be her slave. It's a bitter woman, a lying, cold,
Sniveling
woman, and I will not work for such a woman.
She may be, and yet it's troubled me that you are now 7 months out of their house, And in all this time, no other family has called for your service. Okay, so Abigail's going to maintain that Goody Proctor is a gossiping liar. Now, Goody, I think I told you guys this, but Goody is short for good wife. That's like Mrs., so don't think that they're all named the same thing, right? But she says she's a liar. She's cold and sniveling, and she fired me just out of spite, right? Well, for 7 months, no one's asked for Abigail to come work in their home. Okay? And that's a little suspicious. Now, if you go just ahead a little bit, Abigail says, my name is good in the village, yada, yada, yada. Enter Mrs. Putnam. Y'all need to know that Mrs. Putnam has had 8 children. And of the 8 children, 7 died as infants. Okay? That's a problem. Because Puritans saw those kind of things as like marks against you. If good things happen in your life, that must be that you've done something well and God has favored you. But if bad things happen, it was the common belief that you were being punished for some reason. So the Putnams don't want to believe that they lost all these little children because they were being punished. They want to look for a scapegoat. They want to look for someone to blame. Okay? It's easier than to think that they were doing something wrong when probably it was like some kind of genetic disorder, right? Okay? So she is this kind of twisted soul of 45. All right. No, I cannot have it. Oh, Goody Putnam, come in.
Okay. Where are we at?
First time Miss Putnam speaks, I'm on page 12, so you should be too.
It is a marvel, it is. Surely a stroke of hell upon you.
No, Goody Putnam.
How high does she fly? How high?
No, she never flew.
Why, it's sure she did. Mr. Collins saw her going over Ingersoll's barn. She came down light as a bird, he says.
Now look you, Goody Putnam, she never, and here comes Mr. Putnam, who is super rich and powerful. Oh, good morning, Mr. Putnam.
It is a providence the thing is out now. It is a providence.
What's out, sir? What?
Why her eye is closed. Look at you, Anne.
Why, that's strange too, Paris. Ours is open.
Your roof is sick.
With vicious certainty. Do I say that?
Nope.
Alright. I would not call it sick. The devil's touch is heavier than sick. It's death, you know. It's death driving into them, fork and hoof.
Oh, pray not. Well, how does Ruth ail?
She ails as she must. She never waked this morning, but her eyes open, and she walks and hears not. Sees not and cannot eat. Her soul is taken surely.
They say you sent for Reverend Hale with Beverly.
A precaution only. He has much experience in all demonic arts, and
He has indeed, and found a witch in Beverly last year, and let you remember that.
Now, Goody, and they only thought they were a witch, and I'm certain there be no element of witchcraft here.
No witchcraft. Now look, you, Mr. Paris.
Thomas, I pray you leap not to witchcraft. I know that you, least of all, would ever wish such a disastrous charge laid upon me. Okay, so they go into this really long description of Thomas Putnam, so you can skip all that because I'm going to give you the gist of it, and plus I think you read it on your own anyway. But if you look at the historical documents, because you know all these people lived. I mean, these are folks that, you know, we have the records for. We have the transcriptions of the trials. And if you read those, which you probably wouldn't want to because they're really, really long, but if you read those, you find out that Putnam was most likely accusing others of witchcraft or getting his daughter to gain power and wealth. A lot of times he wanted their land, their property, and so to get them out of the way, he would accuse them of witchcraft. Because if you were accused of witchcraft, your land was often stripped of you, it would go up for auction. And of course, if you were accused of witchcraft, you didn't really have
A choice but to.
Yeah, you didn't really have any kind of defense. Because it would be like, okay, if I said Bella sent her spirit. Caleb, are you awake? Hard to tell. All right. Gotta sit up. Show me your eyeballs. All right. If I said Bella's a witch because she sent her spirit out on me last night and, preyed upon me while I was trying to sleep, well, Bella may have been home dealing with her family, but physically, she could have been. It was the spirit that came and haunted me, right? So you don't have a defense if you're accused of witchcraft. So you essentially have one of two options, and that is you confess and you would be spared your life, or you would deny and maintain your innocence, and then most likely you would be killed for it, okay? So again, keep that in the back of your mind. All right, so we've got Paris who says, but Thomas, you cannot. This is after that long passage. Go ahead, Putnam.
You want me to go above that?
No, it says, and tell.
Okay. And tell Mr. Paris what you have done.
Reverend Paris, I have laid 7 babies unbaptized in the earth. Believe me, sir, you never saw more hardy babies born, and yet each would wither in my arms the very night of birth. I've spoke nothing, but my heart has clamored in the
Intimations.
And now this year, my Ruth, my only, I see her turning strange. A secret child she has become this year, and shrivels like a sucking mouth. We're pulling on her life too, and so I thought to send her to your Tituba.
To Tituba, and remember, she's the slave, okay? What made Tituba?
Tituba knows how to speak to the dead, Mr. Paris.
Goody Ann, it is a formidable sin to conjure up the dead.
I take it on my soul, but who else may surely tell us what person murdered my babies?
Woman.
They were murdered, Mr. Paris, and mark this proof, mark it. Last night my Ruth were ever so close to their little spirits. I know it, sir. For how else is she struck dumb now, except power of darkness would stop her mouth. It is a marvelous sign, Mr. Paris.
So the Putnams have a daughter who has also been stricken from whatever it was that happened the night before. So Betty, Paris's daughter, is like laid out on the bed and they can't get her to wake up. And then we got Ruth that's kind of walking around like a zombie, okay? So there are 2 girls that are having issues. Go ahead, Putnam.
Don't you understand it, sir? There's a murdering witch among us, bound to keep herself in the dark. Now let your enemies make of it, and what they will, you cannot blink it more.
Yeah, you can't ignore it. So you might want to highlight that. That kind of gets to the heart of things. There is a murderous witch among us. They are looking for something or someone to blame for all the bad stuff going on, right? Now, Paris says to Abigail, then you were conjuring spirits last night?
Not I, so Tituba and Ruth.
Yeah. Abigail, as soon as she gets cornered, she's going to blame other people, okay? Oh, Abigail, what proper payment for my charity? Now I am undone.
You are not undone. Let you take hold here. Wait for no one to charge you. Declare it yourself. You have discovered witchcraft.
In my house, Thomas, they will topple me with this. They will make of it up. Now, here comes Mercy Lewis. Y'all, highlight her description. I just think this is hysterical. She is a fat, sly, merciless girl. So her name's Mercy, but she's like the mean girl in the bunch, okay? All right, Mercy.
Your pardons. I only thought to see how Betty was.
Why aren't you home? And who's with Ruth?
Her grandma came. She's improved a little, I think. She's given a powerful sneeze before.
Oh, there's a sign of life.
I fear no more, Goody Putnam. It were a grand sneeze. Another like it will shake her wits together, I'm sure.
Will you leave me now, Thomas? I would pray a while alone.
Uncle, you've prayed since midnight. Why do you not go down in?
No, I have no answer for that crowd. I'll wait till Mr. Hale arrives. Now remember, Mr. Hale's going to be the authority on witches that's going to come in and of course, figure all this out, right? And then he says, if you will, Goody Ann.
Now look you, sir. Let you strike out against the devil, and the village will bless you for it. Come down, speak to them, and pray with them. They're thirsty for your word, mister, and surely you'll pray with them.
I'll lead them in a psalm, but let you say nothing of witchcraft yet. I will not discuss it. The cause is yet unknown. Okay, we're going to skip ahead just a wee bit, all right? So the adults are going to leave, okay? And it's going to leave Mercy and Abigail, and then, of course, Betty, who is like, you know, laid out on the bed. And it's going to allow them to actually talk without being overheard. And so we're going to hear a little bit more about what was going on in the forest, okay? All right, so start with Abigail, who with hushed trepidation, that means hesitatingly, says,
How is Ruth sick?
It's weirdish, I know not. She seems to walk like a dead one since last night.
Now stop this, Betty. Sit up now.
Have you tried beating her? I gave Ruth the good one and it waked her for a minute. Here, let me have
yeah,
it.
Mercy's like, hey, I'll hit her. Because that got a reaction out of Ruth, and Abigail's like, just hold on a second. Go ahead, Abigail.
No, he'll be coming up. Listen now, if they be questioning us, tell them we danced. I told him as much already.
Aye, and what more?
He knows Tituba conjured Ruth's sisters to come out of the grave.
And what more?
He saw you naked.
Oh, Jesus.
So we figured out who the naked girl is, okay? All right, now Mary Warren comes in. Mary's the weak link among the girls, okay? She's the one that's going to be most likely to rat the rest of them out because she's scared. All right, Mary. Did I give the part of Mary to someone? All right, Sydney, you want to read for Mary?
I will.
Yeah, sounds good.
What do we do? Wait, what do we do? The village is out. I come from the farm. The whole country's talking witchcraft. Don't be calling us witches, Abby.
She means to tell, I know it.
Oh, Abby, we've got to tell. Witchery is a hanging in the air and hanging like they've done in Boston 2 years ago. We must tell the truth, Abby. We'll be only whipped for dancing and other things.
Oh, we will be whipped.
Yeah, she's like, you'll be whipped for dancing. And Abby's like, oh, we'll be whipped, right? Like, don't try to get out of it. You were there too. Mary?
I never done none of it, Abby. I only looked.
Oh, you're a great one for looking, aren't you, Mary Warren? What a grand peeping courage you have.
And Betty kind of whimpers on the bed.
Betty, she goes, now, Betty dear, wake up now. It's Abigail. Mighty seem improving. I talked to your papa and I told him everything, so there's nothing to.
Yeah, and you missed a line. It's easy to do when they have so many little directions, but she says, I'll beat you, Betty. Oh, you seem improving, right? So, like, she's willing to do just about anything to snap Betty out of it. And Betty, you know, she's been stricken probably because she's just scared. Like, she may have some PTSD or something from her dad popping out at them in the forest, or it may be that she's terrified of the punishment and is pretending. We don't know. We don't know. Whatever it is, she speaks for the first time. Betty.
I want Mama.
What ails you, Betty? Your mama's dead and buried.
I'll fly to Mama. Let me fly.
And she runs to the window, y'all, and she gets a leg out of the window so that the girls have to like haul her back in.
I told him everything he knows now. He knows everything we.
You drank blood, Abby. You didn't tell me that.
Betty, you never say that again. You will never.
You did. You did. You drank a charm to kill John Proctor's wife. You drank a charm to kill Goody Proctor.
Shut it.
Yeah, she smashes her across the face and says, shut it. You need to highlight this stuff about Abigail drinking blood and drinking a charm to kill Goody Proctor, because if you're doing a paper on Abigail and you know your end game is to figure out which character you want to write on and, you know, start figuring out the angle, right? Because you got a character analysis you're going to do. I mean, she is determined and motivated by, you know, not only the love of attention, because I think she does love attention, but she wants John Proctor enough to where she was drinking a charm to take his wife's life so that maybe she could take it, you know, her place, right? Betty.
Mama.
Now look at you, all of you. We danced and Tituba conjured Ruth Putnam's dead sisters, and that is all. And mark this, let either of you breathe a word or edge of a word about the other things, and I will come to you in the black of some terrible night, and I will bring a pointy reckoning that will shudder you. And you know I can do it. I saw Indians smash my dear parents' head on the pillow next to mine. I have seen some reddish work done at night. I can make you wish you'd never seen the sun go down. Now you sit up and stop this.
Wow. Okay, so highlight that too, because you may end up writing about Abigail. And to me, she is so tough. In part because when she was little, she saw her parents brutally murdered, like right beside her. And she threatens these girls. She says, look, I'm gonna tell you what you can say. And that's it. Anything else, and I will make you very sorry. Okay? All right, Mary.
What's got her? Abby, she's going to die. It's a sin to conjure and leave.
I said shut it, Mary Warren.
Now, here comes John Proctor. Mary Warren now works for John Proctor, okay? So she's very scared about seeing him because she's supposed to be home helping his wife, okay? He is like good looking. He's super handsome. All the girls kind of have crushes on him. He's in his mid-30s, and Abigail is only 17, but you gotta understand, at that time, you know, that big age difference between a man and the girl or the woman would not be as big a deal as it is today, okay? So Abigail, we're gonna find out she wants this man, and she's got good reason to want him, okay? He's a good man, he's a nice looking man, he's a well-respected man, but he is very upset with himself. He does not see himself as a good man. He sees himself as a sinner. What sin did he commit? Adultery. We find out that he and Abigail had an affair. His wife found out about it and threw her out of the house. It has been 7 months since that happened. They have not been alone together in that amount of time. So we're gonna hear a conversation between them. That's the first conversation that they've had in 7 months, okay? All right, Mary Warren says,
Oh, I'm just going home, Mr. Proctor.
Be you foolish, Mary Warren? Be you deaf? I forbid you leave the house, did I not? Why shall I pay you? I'm looking for you more often than my cows.
I only came to see the great doings in the world.
I'll show you a great doing on your arse one of these days. I'll get you home. My wife is waiting with your work.
yep, he says, I'll show you a great doing on your arse. Arse means ass, okay? So he's like, you better get home and get back to work. Go ahead, Mary? Oh, actually, it's not Mary, it's Mercy. Mercy is afraid of him, but titillated. Y'all, titillate is a great vocabulary word too. It means excited. Like, she thinks he's cute, okay? So she's gonna kind of like sidle out, you know. All right, Mercy says,
I'd best be off. I have my roof to watch. Good morning, Mr. Proctor.
and she sidles out and leaves them alone. Abigail.
I almost forgot how strong you are, John Proctor.
What's this mischief here?
Oh, she's only gone silly somehow.
The road past my house is a pilgrimage to Salem all morning. The town's mumbling witchcraft.
Oh gosh. We were dancing in the woods last night and my uncle leaped in on us. She took fright is all.
Ah, you're wicked yet, aren't you?
Aren't you?
Aren't you? You'll be clapped in the stocks before you're 20.
So remember the stalks are those, I can't really describe them, but you would know by seeing them. It's when you'd have your head and your hands like stuck in between the beams, you know, for public humiliation, because Puritans were very much into like public humiliation as a form of punishment. And so this is Puritan flirting. He's like, oh, you're wicked yet, aren't you? And she's like, we were just sporting, that's all. He says, you'll be clapped in the stocks before you're 20. He tries to leave. He tries to get out, but she pretty desperate, and she, you know, it wants to draw him back in. Okay? Go ahead, Abigail.
Give me a word, John, a soft word.
No, Abby, that's done with.
You come 5 miles to see a silly girl fly. I know you better.
I come to see what mischief your uncle's brewing now. Put it out of mind, Abby.
John, I am waiting for you every night.
Abby, I never give you hope to wait for me.
I have something better than hope, I think.
Abby, you'll put it out of mind. I'll not be coming for you more.
You're surely sporting me with him.
You know me better.
I know how you clutch my back behind your house and sweated like a stallion whenever I come near. Or did I dream that? It's she put me out, you cannot pretend it were you. I saw your face when she put me out, and you loved me then, and you do now.
Abby, that's a wild thing to say.
A wild thing to say, a wild thing may say wild things, but not so wild, I think. I have seen you since she put me out. I have seen you nights.
I have hardly stepped off my farm this 7th month.
I have sense for heat, John, and yours has drawn me to my window. I have seen you looking up, burning in your loneliness. Do you tell me you've never looked up at my window?
I may have looked up.
Yep. All right. So you want to go back and highlight a bunch of this, okay? So she's like, I have a sense for heat, and I know that you've looked up at my window. A sense for heat and it's drawn me to my window, and I've seen you at night looking up at my window when, you know, presumably he wouldn't get caught, right? What does he admit to?
Thinking about it.
Yeah, well, he says, I may have looked up, right? So he admits right here that as much as he doesn't want anything else to happen between them, when he says, I may have looked up, he's admitting that he still has some feelings for her. And he hates himself because of it. But it's almost like he just can't quite help it, right? He still is attracted to her. He doesn't want to be, but he is. Okay, go ahead.
And you must. You are no wintry man. I know you, John. I know you.
Yeah, that's right. I know you.
I cannot sleep for dreaming. I cannot dream, but I wake and walk about the house as though I find you coming through some door.
Child.
How do you call me a child?
Abby, I may think of you softly from time to time, but I will cut off my hand before I'll ever reach for you again. Why about out of mind? We never touched, Abby.
Okay, so he's going to say we never touched. She says, yes, we did. No, we didn't. Yes, we did. No, we didn't, right? So he really wants her to just forget about it. She makes the mistake of bringing up
his wife.
Elizabeth, okay? And that triggers his anger, and he says, you know, I will cut off my hand before I ever reach for you again, okay? Now, underneath them, because they're on the second story, right, the second floor, you would hear a hymn being sung from the folks below. Once that hymn gets started, Betty starts to scream, which is going to bring everybody from downstairs, upstairs to see what the heck is going on. Okay, skip all the way to page 34. So if you didn't read Act 1 like you were supposed to, you're going to have to go back and, you know, fill in the gap, okay? All right, around page 34, we have Reverend Hale who shows up. He's a good man, you guys. I mean, there were folks whose occupation was to hunt witches because they enjoyed tormenting, especially women, okay? Hale's not that guy. He is a good, sincere man who thinks he's doing God's work, and he really does come in with the best interests in heart, all right? He's got all these really heavy books. So, did I give a Reverend Hale to someone? Did I give that part out? I think I did. Caleb. Trying to hide your light under a bushel. Caleb, pray you someone take these.
Pray you, someone take these.
Oh, Mr. Hale, it's good to see you. My, they're heavy.
They must be. They are weighted with authority.
Well, you do come prepared.
We shall need hard study if it comes to tracking down the old boy. You cannot be Rebecca Nurse.
Okay, did I not have a Rebecca? All right, Emma, read for Rebecca. And look, Rebecca's like the grandma of the village. Everybody loves her. She's super well respected, very kind, very gentle. Go ahead.
I am, sir. Do you know me?
It's strange how I knew you, but I suppose you look as such a good soul should. We have all heard of your great charities in Beverly.
Do you know this gentleman, Mr. Thomas Putnam, and his good wife, Anne?
Putnam, I had not expected such distinguished company, sir.
Andrew, I think that's you, bud.
I have no clue where we are.
Page 35. Okay, you're maybe in a little bit different book, but it should be very close. I'll read for you till you catch up. Look for where it says it does not seem to help us today, okay? It does not seem to help us today, Mr. Hale. We look to you to come to our house and save our child.
Your child ails too?
Her soul seems flown away. She sleeps and yet she walks.
I'm almost
Putnam says she cannot eat.
Cannot eat. Do you men have afflicted children?
No, these are farmers. John Proctor, and Giles Corey. Okay. Do y'all have a relative, a grandparent, or a great-grandparent who, like, is, they feel like they've aged so much and lived so long that they can say whatever they
Yes.
want to, even if you're in public? My dad was like that. We'd all go out to eat, and oh my God, bless his heart. Oh, like, somebody walked by and he'd say, "She never skips a meal." It would be so embarrassing. That's Giles Corey. He's like, I think close to 80, and he's just over it. He's gonna say whatever's on his mind. So when they're introduced, he and John Proctor are good friends. I mean, he outs John Proctor by saying he don't believe in witches. That's a problem because there are witches in the Bible. You're supposed to believe the Bible, okay? He don't believe in witches, Proctor.
I've never spoken witches one way or the other. Will you come, Giles?
No, I think not. I have some questions of my own to ask this fellow.
I've heard you to be a sensible man, Mr. Hale. I hope you'll leave some of it in Salem.
Will you look at my daughter, sir? She's tried to leap out the window, and we discovered her this morning on the high road waving her arms as if she'd fly.
Tries to fly? Tries to fly?
Yeah, that's it. Putnam, did you find your spot? I thought you found your spot.
Yes, I can try it. She cannot bear to hear the Lord's name, Mr. Hale. That's a sure sign of witchcraft afloat.
No. Now let me instruct you. We cannot look to superstition in this. The devil is precise. Marks of his presence are definite as stone. I must tell you all that I shall not proceed unless you are prepared to believe me if I should find no degrees of hell upon her.
It's agreed, sir. It's agreed. We will abide by your judgment.
Good then. Now, sir, what was your first warning of this strangeness?
Why, I discovered her and my niece and 10 or 12 of the girls dancing in the forest last night.
You permit dancing?
No, it were secret.
Mr. Paris's slave has knowledge of conjuring, sir.
We cannot be sure of that, Goody Ann.
I know it. I sent my child. She should learn from Tituba, who murdered her sisters.
Goody Ann, you sent a child to conjure up the dead.
Let God blame me, not you, Rebecca. I'll not have you judging me anymore. It is a natural work to lose 7 children before they go the day.
Okay, so Mrs. Putnam really is jealous of Rebecca Nurse because Rebecca Nurse has had all of her children and grandchildren survive, and that's almost impossible back in those times, right? And of course, she's lost 7 of her 8. And so she's got a little beef with Rebecca Nurse, even though everybody else seems to love Rebecca Nurse, and she obviously didn't have anything to do with Putnam's, children dying, okay? All right, so Hale says 7, see it?
7 days in childbirth.
Aye.
What book is that?
What's there, sir?
Here is all the invisible world, caught, defined, and calculated. In these books, the devil stands stripped of all his brute disguises. Here are all your familiar spirits, your
Incubi,
incubi and
succubi,
your witches that go by land, by air, and by sea, your wizards of the night and of the day. Have no fear now. We shall find him out if he has come among us, and I mean to crush him utterly if he has shown his faith.
Will it hurt the child, sir?
I cannot tell. If she is truly in the devil's grip, we may have to rip and tear to get her free.
I think I'll go then. I'm too old for this.
Why, Rebecca, we may open up the boil of all our troubles today. Okay, I hope none of y'all have actually seen a boil lanced. It's pretty disgusting, okay? Like all the pus drains out, you know. So when Paris says, but Rebecca, we're gonna open up the boil of all our trouble today, he's saying, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Something's afoot, something evil has taken hold, we're gonna find out what it is. Rebecca is a gentle soul. And when hell says we're gonna have to rip Betty from the grips of Satan, she's like, I think I'm just gonna go home, okay? So, and she does, she leaves. She's very skeptical and she doesn't wanna be a part of this, okay? So that's what's going on. Hal has all of these books, right? And he opens up this really big one and he says, here are all the invisible things in the world revealed. Incubi, succubi, the spirits that walk by land, and of course, you know, travel by sea. You need to know incubi and succubi. Those are the plural forms of incubus and succubus. Incubus is the male version. Succubus is the female version. Has anybody ever heard the term succubus? No? Okay. So it's used rarely, but it is used even in today's time to describe a woman who is like a man-eater, okay? Right? Because an incubus or a succubus, those were spirits that preyed upon you when you were asleep. So a succubus, for instance, would target a man and attack him while he was sleeping and drain him of his life forces. It had a very sexual connotation. I don't think I have to explain, okay? And every once in a while you hear that term today to describe a woman who's like manipulative, you know, a taker, that kind of thing. So interesting vocabulary words there. All right, now we're gonna skip ahead again and we're gonna go to where they discovered that Abigail not only was dancing with the other girls in the woods, but they had a kettle of something there as well, and then this little frog somehow wound up in the kettle, and that is a problem. Okay, so go to page 40. Where Abigail says, well, a very little frog jumped in. Do you guys see that? Okay. And Emma, do you see that? Is it? Do you have my book? Okay, go ahead.
Why, a very little frog jumped.
A frog, Abby.
Abigail, it may be your cousin is dying. Did you call the devil last night?
I never called him Tituba.
Yeah, as soon as she gets targeted, she's gonna blame someone else. Tituba did. She called the devil.
I should like to speak with Tituba.
Goody Ann, will you bring her up?
How did she call him?
I know not. She spoke Barbados.
Barbados, yeah.
Did you feel any strangers when she called him? A sudden cold wind, perhaps? A trembling below the ground?
I didn't see no devil. Betty, wake up. Betty, Betty.
You cannot evade me, Abigail. Did your cousin drink any of the brew in that kettle?
She never drank it.
Did you drink it?
No, sir.
Did Tituba ask you to drink it?
She tried, but I refused.
Why are you concealing? Have you sold yourself to Lucifer?
I never sold myself. I'm a good girl. I'm a proper girl.
Okay, so, Bella, right? Okay, Bella, read for Tituba, okay? So Tituba comes in, y'all, she's a slave, so she has the least amount of power in this group, which makes her, unfortunately, a good a good scapegoat, right? So Abigail, when she comes in, she says, she made me do it, she made Betty do it, all right? Tituba.
Abby.
Abigail, do you see where we are? She makes me.
Oh, she makes me drink blood.
Blood?
My baby's blood?
No, chicken blood. I give she chicken blood.
Woman, have you enlisted these children for the devil?
No, sir. I don't trust with no devil.
Why can't you not wake? Are you silencing this child?
I love me, Betty.
You have sent your spirit upon this child. Have you not? Are you gathering the souls for the devil?
She sends her spirit on me in church. She makes me laugh at prayer.
This is one of my favorite lines because Paris says she have often laughed at prayer. So not only is she gonna blame poor Tituba for like, you know, the witchcraft stuff, but now she's gonna start blaming her for all the other mistakes she's made. Because if you're a Puritan in church, you don't laugh in church. That is not okay. And she says, she makes me laugh in prayer. Her uncle, who happens to be a minister, says, she does often laugh in prayer, right? And what's going to happen is, Tituba, you know, she's going to say, I have nothing to do with this. I don't know, why are you saying this? And Paris basically says, you'll confess yourself or we will take you out and whip you till you die. So that kind of sets up what choices these women have, and men, because there's some men accused too. You know, you get accused and you either confess and are spared, or you deny and you're possibly whipped to your death, right? Or hanged, as it's going to turn out, okay? All right, so we'll stop there. We'll read just a little bit about the end of Act 1, but then in Act 2, we're only going to read a little of Act 2 out loud and then get into Act 3. So y'all need to keep reading, keep highlighting and marking. And then it looks like you're only going to have to do one peer edit. I'm not sure what happened there because I set it up for you to do 2. So anyway, you'll have to get back and to turn it in to do that though. That's going to be what you'll do tomorrow for part of the time that you're supposed to be working in my class. Yeah. For y'all Wednesday, okay? All right. Anything else? Any other questions? Did y'all, you know what? Hang on a second. Let me turn this off.